All right. Well, let's move on. Speaking of marketing ploys, which this is definitely not, but this has become one of the more popular segments on the program. And because we're somewhat behind here, also, I've been trying to still got the email, unfortunately. Hopefully that'll go out soon. But Reggie's Corner, we're behind on honoring some of our fine furry friends. So I thought we would, before we get any further behind, we would make sure to include in this program, whether anybody hears or not, some tributes on Reggie's Corner.
Reggie's Corner. We're here to talk about your good boys and girls. Reggie's Corner. We're so sorry they're dead now.
Oh, and that's
Doesn't get old.
just, and it lasts. You can't get it out of your head. Fast Eddie from Arizona, unfortunately lost his 19-year-old cat Mona. And unfortunately, he just said it was a bad prognosis at the local veterinary hospital, I guess at the age of 19. But the cats seem to live significantly longer than dogs, don't they? Is that kind of one of those things where like women's life expectancy is longer than men's because they drive us to an earlier death? Is that the same with the cats tormenting the dogs?
Well, I don't know. I think a lot of it is also dogs are more active than cats. Cats seem to have a lazier lifestyle.
Well, now you're just blaming just painting an entire species with the same sedentary brush.
In a sense, yes.
Moving on.
Hey, what do you think? What do you think of the name Mona? That's a name you don't hear anymore.
There was a young lady named Mona that in Arkansas that used to send me all the Memphis newspaper clippings and things when I was a mere photographer, and a wonderful girl. And then I became a heel manager, and she sent me a letter to, who do you think you are acting like that and saying those things? You no good, sorry, gum bumping sack of snake feces. Anyway, speaking of snake feces, Paul from Harrogate. Unfortunately, no, Paul.
It's about snake feces?
No. It's just a little jab at Paul. But we've heard from Paul before. Leica was his furry friend that we mentioned before, but he's lost his cat Whiskey to kidney disease, and Whiskey has joined Leica, Missy, and Speedy. And about Whiskey, basically, Paul wrote, he was the perfect cat to have if you wanted a dog. I taught him to sit like a dog when he was 14. He always liked hugs with family, freshly cooked chicken, and enough catnip to knock out full colonies of animals. So, again, Whiskey, we're sorry about that. And, well, Paul, we're sorry about Whiskey. Again, and Whiskey, if we had been talking to you, we'd be sorry about Paul. And there's the thunder, and we're all going to hell, Brian.
Wow, that's on your side, for the record.
Yeah. Pat, I'm not sure where he's from, but he lost his Shih Tzu poodles. Willie and Sasha, they were 17 years old, and they passed 1 month apart.
Wow. 17, that's incredible.
Yeah, that's getting old for the dogs, the puppies. Sasha had several medical issues, and about a month later, Willie suffered what appeared to be a heart attack. So that's just a miserable time period. But Pat, we're sorry about Willie and Sasha. And here is one.
Certainly that is one.
Here's one all the way. Brian, Reggie's Corner has now reached Bahrain. Ahmed from Bahrain wrote, it saddens me to say that after 24 years of life, we had to put down our Persian cat, Hessa. 24.
Wow, how was that even possible?
He says we saved her in 2016. Listen to this now for coincidences. Saved her in 2016 off the streets of Manama? I don't know my Bahrain geography.
Manama?
Mommy? Wherever it's Panama, but with an M. So you guys figure it out. But they saved her and took her to the vet and discovered she was microchipped. And the microchip said that she was born in 1999 in Kentucky.
How is that possible?
They contacted the owners. The owners told them that they had apparently lived there and moved back home in 2014. So I don't know what the chain of custody was of the cat between the time they moved back and a couple years later, but maybe she had already been lost or whatever. But nevertheless, so Ahmed kept her ever since, and he said we had to put her down because she was deaf and blind due to age. She would go around in circles and bump into everything and would even piss and shit and walk around in it because she was clueless. So I guess that might have been an indication there it was time to do something.
Well, I hope they can remember the cat. Jesus Christ.
Hey,
wow.
Folks, who says that we don't have special effects on this program? And Leonard,
from
or
Manama.
as he terms himself, Mr. Hoo Hoo from Hee Haw, Ohio. I think we actually termed him that one time. Yes, his last name is H, and his first name of his town is H in Ohio. So Mr. Hoo Hoo from Hee Haw, Ohio, lost his 12-year-old Maltese, Pippi. Pippi was diabetic, and his wife had rescued Pippi when she was 2 years old. And her blood sugar was bad and etc. But so we're sorry about Pippi, Leonard. But here's another one. And Brian, I need to see what you think about this, because this is from John. Thunder and lightning. Should I be looking for any severe weather alert? They said it wasn't going to be bad. This is not about a dead furry friend, Brian. This is about a living furry friend that is, well, I'll read it to you and see what you think.
Okay.
John says, I used to hate cats before meeting Gingy. Turned me completely around on him. That was 4 years ago when my then girlfriend adopted him as a 7-week-old kitten. Now Gingy has grown up to be a bit rambunctious, and sinister forces are trying to convince my ex to put Gingy down for being aggressive. I'd like to ask the cult of Cornette to come to Gingy's aid with showings of support. Gingy isn't a bad cat. He's just misunderstood. Don't kill Gingy. So what kind of fucking...
That's not much of a defense.
Well, no, what kind of sinister forces are... Oh, the cat. It's aggressive. Kill it.
He's talking about his ex-girlfriend. If he's talking about sinister forces, it's her parents. That's the only people.
Well, what the fuck? They're scared of a cat? What is this cat possessed by a demon going around slitting people's fucking Achilles tendons under the bed at night? Who wants to kill a cat? Fuck.
If you have a cat living with you, I'm not even saying kill. I'm saying maybe kick out of the apartment. If you have a cat living with you that is unpleasant, pees and shits wherever, scratches you, attacks people, coming up with the worst case scenario, wouldn't you want it out of your apartment?
Well,
how long does this commitment have to go?
Well, he didn't say anything about an apartment. He could live in a mansion, a giant home with plenty of room for all the wildlife.
Well, she doesn't live with him.
Well, possibly she could live in a mansion with these sinister parents you're talking about.
Or her sister, or her best friend. It's always the same thing.
Gingy has grown up to be a bit rambunctious. He didn't say anything about, well, he's pissing and shitting about and scratching people. And
it's almost like it's on my side. It's so loud. Jesus.
Well, hey, that's good. We do things right down here.
Thunder over Louisville.
So the point I'm making is we shouldn't kill Gingy just for being and adopt him out. Give him to some people you don't like. For heaven's sake. All right. This is from Luke, and this tugged at my heart. Hi, Jim and Brian. My cute little hamster Frankie just passed. It was a hard day considering my aunt had passed away earlier in the day. And then I would find Frankie dead in his cage later that night. He was such a cute little guy and was so funny. I would pick him up and he would flail his little legs around, and it was the cutest thing ever. He would also sometimes try to escape from his cage by trying to squeeze himself through one of the small openings, but would get his little head stuck, but thankfully would get his head out. He meant so much to me, and I got him when I was in a really dark place, and just having a little friend like him helped me through so much. Apparently, including the death of your aunt. that was parenthetically referenced in the first part of this email and then never brought up again. So here's a picture of my furry little friend, my sweet Frankie. I miss him dearly. My aunt, not so much. She was a bitch. No, I added that part. He never referenced his aunt again. So, Luke, we're sorry about Frankie and really ambivalent, I guess, about your aunt.
That was the one that pulled at your heartstrings, I believe.
It really did. It really did. All right. Well, there's Reggie's Corner. We've caught up on some of them. And there's many more, folks. And I'm sorry to say, because it's always a sad occasion where that comes up. But do we have an outro for Reggie's Corner, or do we just move on?
Reggie's Corner. We're here to talk about your good boys and girls. Reggie's Corner. We're so sorry they're dead now.
Hey, you know what? On that topic, Matt O'Donnell, you're the one who made the intro. If you want to make an outro, let us know.
There you go, an outro. Something we can play at the out of the segment rather than the in of the segment, which is an intro. See, they're distinct things. Because it wouldn't make sense otherwise. We want to be professional here, don't we, Brian?
We do.
Yeah.
In some sense.
In some loose sense of the word, we want to be professional. All right.